It is a Friday morning build call. We are here to talk about health. We're here to talk about something that is so foundational to our health and well-being. And I just want to share for 10 minutes or so, and then I want to open it up because I'm sure folks in here have had experiences with inflammatory response. We're going to relate it a little bit to COVID here. We're going to talk a little bit about just how important this is. I don't want to, as I was preparing for today, I really don't want to be an alarmist. That's not my intention today, but I am going to start with just how impactful inflammation is to your everyday life. And I think a lot of us discount or may not be aware of how important it is to understand the inflammatory response. And we're not going to dive into the details. I'm sure there's some uh, immunologists and virologists that could talk about cytokine storms and those types of things a lot deeper. Although I am going to give you a little bit of a general overview, but in general, the importance of understanding the inflammatory response and how it relates to your overall health and well-being, and how it relates to optimal human performance, and more importantly, which is what I want to focus on for most of what I talk about, is what you can do to reduce the inflammatory response in your body to manage it better. It absolutely starts with food. Food is one of the most foundational aspects, but it's also environmental exposure. And it's also understanding just how many chemicals we're exposed to day in and day out. So it's about detox. Literally, it relates. If you go back into the vault and search for what we've talked about here on these build calls, my masterclass, it really all has its roots in managing the inflammatory response. And we've talked about that. But each one of the topics that we've touched on for the most part all touches back to the inflammatory response in the body. So I want to dive into a couple of those areas. First of all, 6 out of the top 10 killers for all cause mortality. I literally spent about an hour digging into CDC data over the last couple days. Have to do with an inflammatory response in the body. COVID, other cause, all cause mortality, it all relates to, especially long haul COVID, really relates to an inflammatory response inside the lungs. And with an increased inflammatory response in the body, your potential percentage increase for all cause mortality goes up dramatically over time. So I don't want to discount in any way, shape, or form just how important understanding the inflammatory response is and doing something about it every single day. And it doesn't have to be a dramatic change.